Hello! Today I will take you on a journey through one of the quietest yet most powerful symbols in human history, the cane. It has not only been a tool for walking, but also a symbol of authority, wisdom, faith, and even identity. Sometimes it was a sign of power in the hand of a king, sometimes a guide for a dervish on their path, and sometimes support for an elderly person. Let's now explore together how the cane, carrying meaning beyond a simple stick, has evolved into a symbol across cultures and eras. What is a cane? Just a walking aid? A cane? It looks like a stick leaning on the ground, but often it is more reliable than a shoulder. So, is this object really just a simple tool that makes walking easier? In daily life, the cane is usually associated with aging, fear of falling, or physical limitations. For many of us, it represents the outward manifestation of a slowing body. But this definition only scratches the surface of what a cane signifies. A cane is not just support. It is also posture, status, and sometimes identity. Its shape, material, length, the way it is held or carried, each detail tells a lot about its owner. Sometimes it conveys a leader's authority, a sage's humility, or the silence of rebellion. A cane is physically support and symbolically power. It is an object not for merely standing up, but for standing tall. A cane is carried, but it is also represented. And this representation stretches back not only to today, but thousands of years. The story of the cane begins not with old age, but with civilization. Whenever humanity learned to walk, it met the cane. The first traces of the cane, from prehistory to today. When was the first cane made? Who used it, and why was it needed? It is difficult to pinpoint a clear date, but one thing is certain. The cane may even be older than the wheel. Some prehistoric rock carvings and cave paintings depict figures holding long sticks in their hands. These illustrations show that the cane was not just a walking aid, but also a tool for safety, guidance, and defense. Early humans relied on sticks to maintain balance while walking. In rugged terrain, on rocks, and in the wild, this simple tool became a guarantee for each step. It could also serve as a weapon, a warning, or even a boundary marker. In ancient Egypt, the cane symbolized the elderly and the wise. Figures holding canes in frescoes represented social respect. The same cane was power in the pharaoh's hand, guidance in the hand of an elder sage, and a tool for carrying loads in the hand of a servant. In ancient China, the cane was a symbol of longevity and respect. Giving a cane to the elderly was not just support, but an honor. In Confucian teachings, the cane was associated with wisdom. In ancient Greece and Rome, canes appeared among doctors, philosophers, gods, and military leaders. At times, it was a symbol of military power. At others, a divine gift. In short, throughout history, the cane has carried identity, not just function. In one culture, it indicated weakness. In another, leadership. And however far back we go, the cane always had meaning. To know one is not walking alone. Symbol of power, staffs, canes, and authority. Some objects in history wield influence not only through their function, but through their meaning. The cane is one of them, because some canes do more than touch the ground. They signify authority, lawmaking, and divine connection in the eyes of a community. In ancient Egypt, the staff held by pharaohs was not just a physical cane. It represented the sacred link between them and the gods. The heka, a shepherd's staff in the pharaoh's hand, symbolized guidance and protection of the people. This cane became a tool not only for pointing the way, but also for ruling. Similarly, in the Old Testament, Moses' staff was a symbol where miracles happened. It turned the Nile into blood, parted the sea, and guided the people through the desert. Thus, this staff shaped nature while carrying faith. In European monarchies, the ornate staffs carried by kings were a visual representation of governance. During coronation ceremonies, it was not a cane but a royal staff that was presented. This object was not just physical support, but a silent yet unmistakable way of saying, "I hold authority." In the Middle Ages, the Pope's crozier symbolized religious leadership and ruling in God's name. The same cane in a dervish's hand could signify journey, seeking, and surrender. Military leaders, philosophers, jurists, each carried a cane with a distinct intention. Yet the cane always signaled something. This person does not merely walk, they lead. Here, a cane is not just support, it is a message, a symbolic way of telling a community, this person's word walks. Thus, we can say that one end of the cane rests on the ground, while the other presses upon society's perception. Bearer of wisdom, dervishes, sages, and philosophers. The cane has not only been for those in power, but also for the introspective and contemplative. A king walks with a cane to extend influence. A sage walks quietly with a cane, deepening meaning. In Anatolia, dervishes would set out on journeys with canes in hand. But this cane was more than a walking companion. It was a spiritual symbol. The dervish's cane reminded them of self-restraint, patience, humility, and perseverance. With that cane, doors were knocked upon, hearts touched, and sometimes the ego pressed down. In the Indian tradition, sages known as sadhus also carried canes. Its purpose was not only support, but a symbol of spiritual weight. The cane of a walking mystic also indicated detachment from worldly bonds. Among Greek philosophers, some carried canes. In Socratic schools, conversations during walks, the peripatetic tradition progressed with canes in hand. Socrates tapped his cane on the ground as he pondered. Plato perhaps used it to indicate emptiness. These canes gave depth, not just force, to words. In China, Confucian sages carried their canes alongside aging as a virtue. Giving a cane to an elder was not a burden. It was an expression of respect. In this sense, the cane was the language of a silent teacher. It did not guide the path, but ensured one stayed on it. A sage's cane, even in silence, spoke volumes. Perhaps that is why each click of a wise person's cane seems to say, "I am here, but I am more than I appear." Cane and religious meaning. Support in faith. Walking in spirituality. Some objects appear ordinary in common hands but carry profound meaning in sacred contexts. The cane is one such object. In religious traditions, it accompanies not just walking but believing. In Abrahamic religions, the cane appears as the companion of many prophets. Moses, with his staff, was not just a leader, but a bearer of miracles. In holy texts, his cane parted the sea, transformed into a serpent, and guided the people by God's permission. This cane was more than physical support. It was a tool of divine power. It is told that Abraham walked with the cane in his old age. This represented not merely need, but humility and surrender. Relying on a cane can discipline not just the body, but the ego. In Islamic tradition, the cane is still used in mosque sermons. An imam delivering a sermon holds a cane or staff, referencing the Prophet's practice. Here, the staff signifies the weight of morality and knowledge, not mere speech. In some Sufi orders, dervishes carry canes as part of their spiritual journey. It reminds them of the difficulty of the path, patience, and continuous growth. For a dervish, the cane represents walking calmly and avoiding stumbling over the ego's stones. In Christianity, particularly in Catholic tradition, the Pope's crozier is called a pastoral staff. It symbolizes a shepherd guiding his flock. It visually expresses sanctity, guidance, and protection. In Eastern religions, especially Buddhism, monks' staffs are both symbolic and functional. Its sound alerts insects to avoid harm, reflecting nonviolence. Thus, in many belief systems, the cane is not just an object touching the ground. It is a bridge reaching upward. From solitude to surrender, from power to calm, the cane carries spirituality. Cultural evolution of the cane. From function to image, symbol. Over time, the cane became more than a necessity. It became a choice. Owning a cane was no longer about the need to walk, but about the desire to represent a stance. Especially in the 18th and 19th centuries, the cane was an inseparable part of European aristocracy. A noble's morning walk, with hat, gloves, and cane, expressed not only fashion, but social status. Canes were crafted with ivory, silver, or adorned with jewels. It was no longer a support tool, but a style object. Some even contained hidden compartments for notes, cigarettes, or daggers. In theater and literature, the cane became a character-defining element. Sherlock Holmes's cane symbolized not just intellect, but restraint. Charlie Chaplin's cane expressed both humor and elegance. In silent cinema, the cane was not merely an object, but a wordless narrative tool. In modern times, The cane has become an expression of character in street fashion and art. In rap culture, alternative styles, and stage performances, the cane has been reborn. It is now carried not because it is needed, but because one chooses to express oneself. Today, a cane can be orthopedic or a designer piece. It provides safety for the elderly and complete style for an artist. The cane now leans not only on the ground, but also on personality. The cane in art and literature art often conveys what words cannot. A hat, glasses, a cane. All are part of a character's language, giving cues to the audience. And the cane is perhaps the quietest yet most striking word in this visual language. On stage, a cane can tell the story of a character's past, pride, or fatigue. Because a cane communicates not only what it is, but how it is held. A firm grip signifies authority, a loose hold, fatigue, held with two hands, weakness, slung over the shoulder, nonchalance. In cinema history, the cane has completed iconic characters. Charlie Chaplin's slim cane was part of dance, rhythm, and expression, not just support. Willy Wonka's cane drew a line between magic and reality. In literature, the cane often represents not just physical, but spiritual weight in old age. For some characters, it is a temporary inconvenience, petit. For others, a lifelong burden. But it always leaves a mark. It affects the walk and sets the rhythm of the narrative. In painting, placing a cane in the hands of elderly figures signals the passage of time and the traces of life. In a Rembrandt painting, a cane symbolizes loneliness and fragility. In a street artist's sketch, an elderly couple's canes may visually express loyalty and solidarity. Sometimes the cane is prominent, but its true message lies behind, this person keeps walking, and this walk is worth telling. The cane in modern medicine. Not just for the elderly. When people think of a cane, they often imagine old age. A grandmother with white hair, a grandfather walking slowly. But this perception is changing. The cane has become part of movement, independence, and medicine, not just aging. In modern medicine, canes hold an important place among orthopedic aids. For those with balance problems, muscle weakness, or post-surgery recovery, a cane is not only support, but freedom. It allows one to step outside alone and maintain an independent life. Technology has evolved canes as well. There are now foldable, lightweight, and height-adjustable models. Smart canes provide audio alerts or vibrations for guidance, designed for people with disabilities. Cane for the visually impaired can detect obstacles and provide warnings. A cane is no longer just an extension of the body. It is a technological partner. Psychologically, using a cane boosts confidence. It helps maintain balance and makes one feel more comfortable in society. Thus, a cane is not only physical support, but a limb of self-assurance. Yet social prejudices about cane use persist. A person with a cane is not fragile but solution-oriented, not weak but aware, not waiting for help but carrying it in their pocket. Modern medicine has made the cane a tool defending mobility rights for all ages. In this sense, the cane still walks, not just on the body, but on life itself. Conclusion: the cane is not an object, but a language. Not all objects speak, but some tell stories without touch. The cane is one of these silent narrators. It is, after all, a stick, but its meaning changes with the hand that holds it. In a king's hand, it is ruling. In a sage's hand, it is silence. In an elder's hand, it is the mark of time. In a child's hand, it is play. In a visually impaired person's hand, it is sight. In a dervish's hand, it is prayer. In an artist's hand, it is the stage. In a patient's hand, it is freedom. The cane is a language whose form remains the same, but meaning shifts. It becomes whatever the person needs. It speaks without calling out, supports without pushing. Therefore, when we see a cane, we should see not just an object, but a story, a reflection of a step, a choice, a past, and sometimes a future. The cane leans not only on the ground, but on life, and each time it whispers, "I am not just support, I am your balance." Today, we explored not just a walking tool, but a silent companion accompanying humanity's millennia-long journey. The cane. From ancient times to today, it has been power in a king's hand, humility in a dervish's, and freedom in a patient's. It is not merely a stick resting on the ground. In different hands, it speaks different languages. The cane reminds us we never walk alone, because while it supports the body, it also keeps the spirit in balance. And perhaps for this reason most of all, the cane's voice remains the same across all eras. I am not just support. I am your companion on the path.